Google's search ranking system is still rewriting your queries right now, and the Department of Justice can't stop it. Your words go in. Google decides what you actually meant. Then it shows you what it wants you to see. The DOJ spent 4 years building a case around this exact mechanism. The ruling came down, and the feature that would have fixed it, the one Google quietly killed in 2022, is still gone. Until 2022, Google Search had a tool called verbatim mode. You could toggle it inside the Tools panel on any results page. It forced Google to return results containing your exact words, not synonyms, not related terms, not AI-interpreted alternatives. Just what you typed. For 2 billion monthly users searching for medical symptoms, legal statutes, technical documentation, and precise foreign language phrases, this was not a convenience feature. It was the only way to get an honest result. Google engineers built it specifically because the default algorithm was already too aggressive at reinterpreting user intent. Verbatim mode was the override, the escape hatch. Then they buried it. In 2022, Google removed the verbatim toggle from the Tools panel with no announcement, no deprecation notice, and no entry in the changelog. It did not disappear entirely. It moved to a URL parameter almost nobody knows exists. TBS equals lie. 1. Appended manually to the end of a search URL. Google never published this. It surfaced in a developer forum. The official Help Center page for advanced search operators was quietly updated to remove any mention of it. The timing is not an accident. 2022 was the same year Google began embedding AI-generated summaries across the results page. Every query processed through semantic interpretation gives Google a second pass at matching you to an advertiser. Exact match results skip that layer entirely. If you get precisely what you typed, Google's ad targeting signal degrades. Your search becomes less monetizable. Verbatim mode was not just inconvenient for the business model. It was a direct leak in the revenue pipe, and it's still buried. In September 2023, the Department of Justice concluded its antitrust trial against Google. Internal documents entered into evidence showed Google employees discussing search quality degradation as an acceptable trade-off for revenue growth. One engineer's communication described deliberately increasing what they called noise in organic results to push users toward paid placements. The judge ruled in August 2024 that Google had illegally maintained a monopoly. Verbatim mode was not restored. The DOJ's proposed remedies targeted distribution contracts and default browser agreements, the money Google paid to be pre-installed. The specific mechanics of how Google manipulates result sets at the query level were never included in the remedy. The regulator won the case. The mechanism kept running. Here is what nobody reported. The verbatim problem is not a missing button. It is an architectural decision embedded in Google's core ranking pipeline, an internal system called QU for query understanding. QU runs before any result is fetched. It intercepts your literal search string and rewrites it. It adds terms. It removes terms. It substitutes synonyms selected by a model trained on aggregate click behavior, not on what users actually typed. By the time your query reaches the index, it has already been transformed. You never see the rewritten version. You see the results it produced, and those results are scored in part on a commercial signal Google calls PCTR, predicted click-through rate, which weights advertiser demand alongside content relevance. Verbatim mode used to force a bypass of the QU layer entirely. That is why it worked. That is also why it had to go. What exists now in its place is a URL parameter Google does not document, does not surface in any product interface, and does not maintain. Developer communities have logged repeated cases where TBS equals lie. One returns inconsistent behavior, sometimes honoring exact match, sometimes silently overriding it anyway. The bypass is unreliable. For anyone who is not a developer reading niche forums, it effectively does not exist. The EU's Digital Markets Act, which took effect in 2024, requires Google to provide users fair access to search results. It does not specify what fair access means at the query rewriting layer. That gap was not an oversight. It's still running. Right now, if you search for a drug interaction, a legal definition, a specific phrase in a second language, Google is rewriting your query before it even begins retrieving results. You believe you are getting results for what you typed. You are getting results for what Google decided you meant. For medical queries, this is not a minor distortion. Peer-reviewed studies have documented cases where symptom-specific searches returned results optimized for high-traffic condition pages rather than the precise symptom cluster the user entered. The people who needed verbatim mode most, patients parsing clinical language, researchers tracing exact citations, non-native speakers checking specific phrasing, are the same people who never knew it existed. And now it is gone from every place they would think to look. Google's market capitalization crossed $2 trillion in the same quarter they removed the verbatim toggle. The DOJ case is resolved. The EU remedy is procedural. No enforcement body currently targets query rewriting as a distinct anti-competitive behavior, so consider what that means. A feature used by 2 billion people was removed with no announcement, no alternative, and no coverage from any major press outlet. The trial happened. The documents were entered into evidence. The engineer's own words were read into the public record. The judge ruled against Google, and the feature still has not come back. If that is what happens when regulators win, what happens to everything they never looked at?